The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning or good afternoon, friends. We will get started in just a few moments. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to those of us who are just joining us. We'll get started at 1:03. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Before our presentation begins, I want to share a few quick tips so you can get the most out of your webinar experience. Located on the right side of your desktop, you'll see the control panel. Here you'll find the audio and question section. In the audio section, you can choose to tune in using your computer's connected speaker or audio devices, or by dialing in on your phone. In the questions section, we encourage you to submit any questions you may have during the presentation by typing them here. We'll address those during the Q&A sessions. Please note this webinar is being recorded and will be emailed to all those after the webinar. Finally, there will be a live poll at the end and throughout the webinar. We'd like to thank you in advance for your participation in those. Now it's time for me to turn it over to Andy Wapplinger to begin our presentation. Thank you so much. Andy, the mic is all yours.
Great, thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. PowerPoint would work for me, that'd be great. So thank you all for joining me today. My name is Andy Wapplinger. I am the Senior Solutions Marketing Manager here at Calix, specifically focused on SmartBiz. Very excited to be talking today with Brad Wordle and Mike Corbett. Brad is VNet Fiber's Chief Operating Officer, and Mike is VNet's Marketing Specialist. And today we're going to be learning about VNet Fiber's journey as they launch SmartBiz. But before we jump to our chat, we have a quick poll to help us all better understand where everybody is at in their own journey with SmartBiz and or offering internet services rather for small businesses. So wouldn't mind popping up their first interactive poll before we get started. We're just wondering what kind of best describes what you guys are currently offering to small businesses. Is it just kind of something basic? Maybe some internet and just voice services, or potentially managed Wi-Fi, but just residential features. Managed Wi-Fi again, but some features that are a little bit more business-centric, or some more robust, kind of full-fledged small business features like a managed firewall. All right, so far the basic internet and voice is winning out. Excellent. Thank you all for participating there. It looks like we've got a pretty good crowd on the more earlier end of that survey. So this will be, I think, a really good learning experience for all of you. Brad and Mike have some great information to share, and as we kind of learn about VNet's journey. So let's go ahead and jump in here. Brad and Mike, again, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And so it'd be great if you guys could give us a little bit of quick background, high-level information on VNet Fiber, a little bit of information about what VNet Fiber's been doing, and then also a little bit about yourselves.
Sure. Good afternoon, good morning to everyone here who's on the call. I'm Brad Wortel with VNet Fiber. We are based in Erie, Pennsylvania. If you're familiar with the snow belt and lake effect snow, we were up here right on Lake Erie in the northernmost part of Pennsylvania. We were founded in 1990 by our owner, Joel Duderman, and founded the fiber company, VNet Fiber, that focused on our residential and commercial in 2015 on the residential side, and in 2010 on the commercial side. We have well over 1,000 businesses on our network, and about 100 and increasing daily on SmartBiz. We launched SmartBiz early this year in February. We started the onboarding in late fall of 23. So we've been working on this well over a year right now. Part of our business is also managed IT support for PCs, networks, firewalls, cybersecurity, and voice over IP. I'll turn it over to Mike to introduce himself.
Yeah, I'm Mike Corbett, and I am the marketing specialist for VNet. I started 27 years ago as a technician on the IT side of the company, and then moved over to web development, and have been kind of in that path between web development and marketing before taking over marketing full-time when we launched fiber to the home back in 2015, around then. So,
and Mike's got me by a bit here. I've been with VNet for 26 years, so he's got me by a bit. But I went through the computers, networking, building PCs, moving my way through over to IT infrastructure, routers, switches. All those things were very intriguing to me coming up through the system here in the late 90s, and worked way up here with commercial and residential fiber optics, and managing that whole department today.
That's awesome. Great. Well, thanks, guys. So before, as we dive in here, let's kind of go back to the beginning of VNet Fiber's journey, probably even like before SmartBiz, really. So, you know, often when companies are looking to offer new services, it's generally started by kind of seeing what's in their market, what's their competition doing, but ensuring that they're staying innovative and competitive in their market. Could you guys give us a little bit of background on what kind of business services VNet Fiber was offering before SmartBiz?
Now, before we started with SmartBiz, we had a lot of small independent firewalls, Grandstream, small, I would even say in our early days, Linksys, Ubiquity, Sonic Wall, because we do a lot on our IT services division. We have higher level Sonic Walls, but they didn't scale well to the small business. So we were missing out on those opportunities.
Yeah, what kind of challenges are you guys really facing with those solutions?
Support, end user support, ongoing support, and implementation was one of our biggest roadblocks to getting the small businesses deployed.
Yeah. And in your market, where were some of the competitors that were like, what were they offering, and what were you guys up against?
Spectrum is our #1 provider here in town, so they were offering a very basic small business support. Basic Wi-Fi, no real guest Wi-Fi, no security features that our small businesses could count on to secure their business.
Were there any, as you guys started to kind of learn about SmartBiz, I guess how were you guys first introduced to SmartBiz? Like, how was that kind of brought to you guys? You guys hear about it through the through the community or something like that? How did you guys discover it, and what kind of led to you being interested in it?
Yeah, our account management team brought that to us, I would say, mid-2023, started talking about understanding that we were running into challenges here at VNet on deploying small business fiber and not being able to tap into those markets as successfully. They wanted us to try it out. I think we were beta testing it, let's say somewhere during the summer of 2023. So it was something that our account reps recognized that we needed, and we were able to start helping out and developing the product as it went along.
That's awesome. Yeah, we love having that, two-way communication, two-way street with our customers, get that feedback and make sure that we're developing, the right product for the right consumer at the right time. And so we really appreciate, all the feedback you guys were giving us. Hopefully you're seeing that.
There was a lot of collaboration, Andy. It was a great part of the process because we were doing it ourselves with a cobbled together, I would say a whole smorgasbord of solutions. Being able to have a single place to go, one hand to shake, one solution through Calix was the differentiator to us.
Yeah. How many, for any kind of given standard business installation, like how many different products or vendors do you guys typically having to work with?
Oh, geez, I mean, Mike, I know from the marketing side, we have a whole list of vendors from our IT standpoint, but for small businesses, it could be anywhere from 6 to 12 different things that we would be dealing with, from switches to firewalls to guest Wi-Fi access points that need to go outdoors, access points that need to be spread out in small businesses. we had a whole bunch of different vendors that we would work on to be able to connect these small businesses.
And the cost of like trying to, fill in all of these pieces was really high for the customer, especially
Yes.
when you're seeing like security deficiencies with Spectrum's, solutions for small business. It's really hard to, talk a customer into a sonic wall with a active license that's costly, when they can just go to Spectrum and they've got this flat rate and they don't really know what they're missing. So there's a lot of sales effort that goes into that.
Absolutely. And I think that was one of the big things is in the small business, when you're going up against a $99, or even in Mike's standpoint, I think $199, $299 was the most common, is being able to provide a robust solution and differentiate yourself from Spectrum.
Right. Yeah, that's super important. And I can't even imagine, like, I imagine a lot of those business owners having those initial conversations with those old solutions, just like kind of eyes wide, like, whoa, that's seems like a lot, like the whole infrastructure behind it that's required, and it just becomes this whole kind of mess that like they have to deal with, and now you guys also probably have to get tied into.
Yeah, what we see from the small businesses, especially the small business owners like the pizza shops or the small corner stores, is they just need the internet to work. They need to work well. They need to make sure that they can take credit cards and that they're secure. So being able to cut through all that and give them a streamlined solution was great for us.
Yeah. Were there particular key features when you found out about SmartBiz that you're just like immediately, just, it clicked, like you're drawn to those key features about what you could be offering to your customers?
Secure segmented Wi-Fi is something that we see a big need for, and a lot of small businesses want to provide public Wi-Fi, but it goes on their network. So these people are connecting and being on their network. Big security problems. You're just being asked to be hacked, and these business owners didn't know that their IT firm or their kid that set up their Wi-Fi at their business, at their small business, was leaving them exposed. Yeah. It's very eye-opening when you're going out to a lot of these that you've never been to before, that how their setups were, and it's working for them, but they don't realize that it's creating a huge security loophole.
Definitely. Yeah. So, and I know you guys offer a variety of services as well, and so I was kind of wondering if, like, after introducing SmartBiz and kind of simplifying things, did that end up maybe kind of opening up more resources for you guys, or more doors, or just allow you to kind of focus on offering different other streams of revenue?
Yes, absolutely. By streamlining the support, we do a lot of voice over IP. So we do small business handsets, phone systems. We do everything from the switching to power over Ethernet. Being able to streamline this process on the firewall allowed us more time to do these other services, provide them at a valued price, and make sure that they're getting a robust, secure solution, especially on the voice over IP side, which we're seeing a lot of demand for right now.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great win-win. It's like simplifying on both ends and more opportunities for revenue on your end, and they're ultimately probably paying a lower fee than they were before, but getting more bang for their buck, essentially.
Yes, and we see that going up against the big cable company, Spectrum, or even Verizon, who's in our market, and everyone knowing that we are the hometown provider that is here, that cares about their business, was a win-win for all of us.
Yeah, that's awesome. So after you guys jumped on board with SmartBiz, as we just talked about, it's a pretty easy, pretty simple to get set up and running and manage on both ends of the product. But obviously there's still a learning curve involved. And so I think that it'd be great to kind of talk a little bit about the training and enablement, and like how important that has been, for you guys and your team. It's like, just kind of wondering, not just you guys individually, but the internal teams as a whole, were there any particular resources that you guys were able to leverage from Calix or create on your own and just help get everybody spun up as quickly as possible?
Sure. Mike just grabbed this picture from yesterday, I believe, if you're seeing it on the screen here. We had Calix in for an enablement workshop, and this was focused on SmartBiz. We've actually had them in, they were in the day before for residential, and training our team to have the standards going into every single install. wash, rinse, repeat. That is how we succeed with deployment. Is the standardization. I think up on the screen here, we're talking about the functionality of each device, the lights, how we explain the different diagnostics to the technicians and to the customers when they have problems with their service. I think, Mike, from the standpoint, even with the training yesterday, we had a whole list of all the different hardware that could be connected to SmartBiz and how it affects the customer experience. We had indoor Wi-Fi. I think now we're deploying the new Wi-Fi models to be able to expand coverage, and training our technicians on the latest product. It was making it successful when we're deploying it out at the customer.
Yeah, that's great. Have you? I know it's like pretty recent, but have you heard any feedback directly from the team yet about how things went?
We have a lot of technicians that are stuck in their ways on how they used to do things. After coming out of this training yesterday, a lot of eyes were opened and a lot of possibilities to do even more for our small business customers came out of this training. So it was highly successful. And from a technician standpoint, sitting in a seminar they were in there all day yesterday, learning all these new things, not realizing everything that Calix brings to the table. And it was a fantastic experience. So I'd strongly recommend it if you're going down the line of enabling SmartBiz in your company, going and doing this with the training and enablement. It's getting a buy-in from the employees and from the technicians is huge to the success of the deployments.
Yeah, really important to get everybody kind of moving in the same direction, and also, like you said, it's like kind of standardizing. It's not even just like standardizing from a purely operation standpoint, but also standardizing in terms of the knowledge that people have and the way that they can talk about the product, and making sure that everyone kind of understands at the same level what's the value of feature X, feature Y, that kind of stuff, and bringing everybody kind of up to the same bar, basically.
Yeah, we had a whole lab set up here, and the Calix team was great here on sitting down and doing a lot of hands-on training with the techs that are going out in the field and supporting it and installing it. It was a really good thing for us to do here yesterday.
Yeah. Back when you guys started to roll out SmartBiz and started to install it at these businesses, were there any particular early good lessons that kind of come to mind that would be a great learning experience for someone who's either also maybe in their early days now or are thinking about getting into SmartBiz?
Yeah, I would say don't necessarily set things up the way that they were before. Just because the way that they were set up before doesn't mean that's the right way to do it. Follow the standard protocols, follow what Calix recommends in terms of security, having the separate networks, your point of sale networks for people who have to take credit cards. I think that's a really big part of that. Making sure that you don't get put into a lane that you think that I've got to just match what I have before. I got to just provide the same experience they had with Spectrum and the same experience they had with Comcast. The platform enables you to do even more, and don't get stuck with what is the bare minimum. I think that's where we sell ourselves short at times when we're implementing these things.
Yeah, I think it's an important note too. It's like taking that opportunity to sort of hit that reset button in how you are thinking about your approach to whether it's the more technical side of the approach and doing the installs, or whether it's your approach and how you're talking to these businesses about SmartBiz in particular, or the kinds of features and functionality that as a small business in today's world, what do they need? What are they missing? And it kind of gives you that opportunity to reset.
Yeah, in terms of security and content filtering, protecting their customers that come in and surf on the public Wi-Fi, those things that they don't think about when you're going through the process.
Yeah. Yeah. So now you guys, we talked about kind of learning what it takes to kind of learn about that product internally. And so I think the next big step to then focus on is once you've kind of got all the internal teams aligned, everyone knows what to be saying and what to be doing. The next big step is educating your subscribers externally. What is SmartBiz now? Like as a small business owner, what's the value it provides, and really kind of trying to take this more customer-centric approach. Like whether it's how you're talking to them or the resources that you're providing to them, things like that. So I was kind of wondering if there's any particular features or value props that you guys have found, obviously particularly on the marketing side, like that you guys have found these small businesses to really get drawn to, or kind of raise their hand and be like, oh, I didn't know I needed that, or oh my gosh, I really need that because these guys over here aren't offering that.
I think the feature of if your fiber goes out, that you can fall over to your cellular, if you have a cellular plan. That's something that I think a lot of our customers have been drawn to.
Yeah, we've talked about and led with is what is the downtime worth to your business if you can't take credit cards, if you can't use your web-based point of sale? How much does that cost you? And do you have a platform in place to be able to handle that? And I think Mike touched upon that with having the failover to a hotspot is just having that ability to do that is a huge win for a customer if there's an outage. I mean, if you're always going to have the potential for a fiber cut or an outage that creates something that they can't get to their credit cards, they can't run through their cloud point of sale, or they can't get into Office 365 to be able to pull their emails down, or DoorDash to get orders. They could lose money every minute that their internet connection is down. So the SmartBiz platform gives them that ability to have that always on. And
yeah.
I think that's been a big part of our discussion with our customers too, is that redundancy, just to be able to get them to keep their business running that they did not have before with their Spectrum connection.
Yeah, that's a great point. In terms of your guys' your marketing strategy and your messaging, did you find that you guys kind of had to shift? I don't know if it's very heavily or kind of heavily, or essentially how did they kind of change from what you were offering before and how you were talking about it to what you're offering now with SmartBiz and the way you speak about it to your small businesses?
Before SmartBiz, it was not something that we talked about in our marketing very much. Just that each of the components of SmartBiz, we do those things, but to sell it as one package, like of course we do Wi-Fi, as a MSP, we can put together any solution. Now we have a way to pitch it on one sheet of paper or on one web page. With the help of Calix, you can describe the whole solution very easily. Whereas before, you've got 1,000 different options. What kind of firewall, what kind of switch do you want? VLANs? How much, labor is going to go into configuring all of that? Is your license going to have to be renewed? What kind of security do you need? Like, there's so many things. So we didn't ever have a good, pitch like we can now. Yeah,
it was a lot of different products, as Mike said, labor, time, complexity. The SmartBiz solutions taking the complexity out of it so that we can just focus on the customer experience, focus on that small business having a reliable, robust internet connection, and have an easy way for us to support it from the back in here as a BSP. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of BSPs are afraid to get into this market for, is the complexity, the time that it might take, the risk that it might open them up to, versus just selling an internet connection to the side of their building, put the ONT in their office, and let their local IT person deal with everything going on there. We find that there is no local IT person in a lot of these small businesses. The business owner's trying to figure it out for him or herself. They're just putting together whatever they can buy on Amazon or eBay or a website that someone recommended, versus having a managed solution that's backed by a trusted provider like us.
And additionally, we haven't been able to offer customers the ability to customize anything themselves either. That was a whole other layer. Are we going to manage the network full time, forever? Or are we going to hand over some of the control to the customer? And now we can do that. They can, brand the network themselves and, create rules and things like that. So,
And with providing customized splash pages for their guest Wi-Fi and providing a unique experience for every customer, that cost is invaluable versus other solutions that are out there. We've been able to go in, give them a custom splash page, collect data on who's coming into their business, even push promotions if you need to, so that when someone comes into the business, that they're getting those unique experiences that a higher end product that they would have to buy to be able to do that. We can do this bundle into the Smart Biz right on their GigaSpires.
Yeah, it really kind of is like the best of both worlds, and for both parties. Like it's, they get that self-service through CommandWorks if they want to take advantage of that, or they, gives them an opportunity to kind of fix or tweak some things without having to bring you guys in. But also on the same end, or on the same side of things, it's like if you guys want to offer that more white glove service, you can do that, or at the very least, being able to kind of remote in and control all the things that they're also able to see and control, and offering that support that you might not have been, if you could have offered it maybe in the previous solution. At the very least, it was such like a convoluted, probably more just like required so much more technical expertise on your team's side to be able to manage those things. And that's assuming also that your customers probably couldn't even do anything themselves at all at that point.
Yep. Yeah. And from an IT standpoint, we have a whole IT staff. I've got them sitting behind me here in our NOC. But being able to provide the ability for someone to self-service certain issues cuts down on truck rolls for us, cuts down on frustration from the customer standpoint, because there's certain things that they can address immediately. And we've got buy-in from local other IT firms that use this product and don't feel threatened by us coming in and offering a Smart Biz solution. It's been really nice that we have other IT firms that are bought in too, that say, hey, this is a great solution, we're going to support it as well.
I think it's actually a really good point, because I think that when you're talking about these more in-depth solutions, the line can get really blurred between, is it your responsibility or something that you at VNet Fiber want to take on versus a different IT services provider in the area. And I think that maybe that area gets a little bit too great, and you guys kind of, I don't know, maybe like kind of
duke it out a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. So that's one thing too, is where is that line of responsibility at? And from this standpoint, is we want to be that white glove service, that one hand to shake. But if we're not that person on the IT side, they're working with us as well, and not feeling threatened. Because I think that's another thing too, is if, especially in a market like Erie, and many other smaller markets where there's a number of IT firms there, is they may feel threatened by you coming in and offering this. We're not seeing that right now. We're seeing that we're providing a robust solution that doesn't stomp on their feet, still lets them do what they need to do to support that customer, but then provide a really good solution for their small business that they're supporting.
Yeah, almost kind of like enables you guys to really, I guess, either build or just at least strengthen those existing relationships that you did have with those IT service providers. And I keep saying it, but I think it's another situation where it's like, here's a clear win-win here. It's like you guys are able to come in and support and provide these solutions with Smart Biz, and these IT service companies can still come in and still be providing services. But I think that, it seems like it would help kind of make that line delineation clear, and which I think that when you remove confusion, you remove that gray area, it just helps anybody who's kind of managing a relationship. It helps them really understand, now that we've got these clearly defined boundaries. It's like, I can handle this, you can handle this, and then we can come together and just like make this great experience for ultimately, both of our customers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm also kind of wondering in terms of like your sales team, is there any particular elements that like strategies or techniques that your sales team uses that would kind of fit within this, really kind of customer-centric approach?
Yeah, we see basically a lot of door-to-door, going in, using the reputation you have in the community as a BSP, as an internet provider, and going and selling these services to the small mom and pop shops. They may use you at home for internet, and now we're going in and offering not just that ONT and that internet connection, but a whole platform that enables their business to succeed. They never thought we could do that before. And I think from a sales side, is going in with that reputation, it makes it so much easier to go in and get a sell on the smart biz is just having that reputation for being local and high touch, white glove service. We say it all the time, white glove, one hand to shake, and providing those services all the way to voice over IP if we need to, or even, from our standpoint, we provide computers and networks, but you can just stop at the smart biz if that's what you're comfortable with as a BSP. But I'm trying to go in, as an unknown, is a problem. But most of the BSPs, I'm sure, that are on this call here have a reputation in their markets and can use this as to their advantage to sell into.
Yeah, when your guys' sales team, walks into the businesses, are they like armed with anything in particular, or I don't know, any kind of like particular strategies that you guys recommend that you feel like has worked really well?
Yeah, we've created a one sheet, again, based on a lot of the information Calix has provided to us, and they've been able to use that to leave it with the customer after presenting them with the solution. But we've found that they're very successful. So I don't know how much the sales sheet helps with that, but it is something to leave behind that the customer can look at. But I think the success rate of either converting existing customers or acquiring new ones has been really high. So
yeah, we've got a great team on the sales side that is just maintaining relationships, and this is just another item that they have to go into, especially when you built the trust in the community to be able to sell these services into the small businesses. Mm-hmm. And talk about things that they've never done before, like we mentioned with the guest Wi-Fi, the managed security, the controls so that they can control what access their employees have on the internet. It goes hand in hand. It's been very easy, I would say easy to go in with one solution and not have to go in and put together a proposal for 6 different things that are needed to get them the same result, and then go, oh, by the way, we've got to support this with another contract, and we can't bundle it in as part of your internet service because it's not part of it, it's separate. And I think that one bill that covers everything, that simplifies their experience, is what's making our success and our growth that we've touted here on the smart biz highly successful.
I think it's also saved the salespeople time from having to check in with technicians who are experts in the field of firewalls and switches and Wi-Fi, that they don't have to shop for a specific solution. Like they already know what they're selling. So I think that's easier for the sales staff to put together a sale and close it. So
yeah, is your sales team, like, how do you feel like they are kind of best understanding when they go into these businesses, like in figuring out what is it that business either maybe already has that you think that smart biz is able to do better, or maybe they don't have it, and whether that's because maybe they just don't realize that they need it? Like, is there any particular strategies that your sales team uses to understand when they're going in to have these conversations, or have follow-up conversations later? Like, how are they learning about this business and their needs and what they could be offering with smart biz?
Yeah, we've armed our sales team with checklists that when they walk in, whether they're going down a checklist or they're just casually observing the business that they walk into and see, do they have a free guest Wi-Fi? Do they have a splash page when they go in and connect to that Wi-Fi? Can they tell, they have a point of sale, they're taking orders here at the front there. They've got phones in their office that are on old analog phones that are hanging on the wall. Starting to gather that data while they're walking into that business and putting together a really good, quick talk with the small business owner as how we can help them with our solution. And you go in, you try to focus on more than just the internet. Because if you were just going in and it's talking about, well, we can sell you 300 megs for X amount of dollars, well, yeah, all the other providers can do that too. Spectrum's doing, I don't know what they're offering now, 10 million gigs for $50 or whatever they're doing, whatever new promo they've got going on. But we come in and sell a solution. It's not just speeds and feeds and, oh, we are going to give you antivirus. I think the last ads I've seen from Spectrum is managed antivirus. It's not just that. You need layers. We talk about the belt and suspenders model, is that you need multiple layers of protection, and just throwing out words and buzzwords isn't going to protect your business, especially this day and age of all the cyber threats, PCI compliance, all the different things that small business owners are now faced with.
Yeah, no, I think that's super important. I think this is great because you're really kind of touching upon our next topic here. But before we jump into that, we do have our second interactive poll. If y'all don't mind contributing to this, we're just kind of wondering, currently, are you guys planning to launch a new small business solution in the next 6 months, 12 months, 24 months or so? Kind of like, has this been a topic of conversation in the business, amongst you guys, amongst your teams at all, or maybe you guys are still just kind of uncertain and really just in the early exploratory phases and just trying to understand what could be out there, what could we be offering? Interesting. Yeah, we've got pretty 50-50-ish split between people who are really interested today and people who are just kind of learning what's out there, kind of getting a feel for the waters. Awesome. That's great. Thank you all. So that was, yeah, just about 50-ish% are pretty serious in considering this, and 50% are educating. So hopefully this is educational for both sides of the spectrum here.
Yeah, and from our standpoint, we started as a commercial fiber optic provider, and then we entered into residential. So we kind of went in reverse from a lot of the BSPs that are on this call right now. So we have a whole different perspective. A lot of our commercial was the larger, mid-size, larger, when fiber was much more expensive to deploy. And now that we are building fiber to the home and passing thousands of homes a month, new homes, we now are passing those small businesses that normally wouldn't have gotten service before, and it's giving us the opportunity to see the other side of it here with the smart biz. So I feel like we've got a different perspective, but it's also a really cool one, seeing how the whole industry has changed to focus on the security, the one hand to shake, white glove service that we can do all the way scaled down to a small business enabled by the Calix product.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, I think it's also really great to be able to offer these different perspectives, because you're right. I feel like a lot of our customers tended to start residential, and then now they're kind of looking to dip their toe in the business and see what that's like. And I think it's also indicative of it's approachable. As a market, it's an approachable market, and hopefully, people aren't going to be too timid or scared about kind of moving into this space, because there's a lot of things you could be doing that can set you apart, and you can adapt and you can grow. And I think it's important to kind of see other people out there doing that. Yeah, so I was kind of wondering from like a competitive advantage standpoint. We've talked about the white glove service, and I think that is, especially when you're in a smaller region, a smaller area, I think that's super important. You're talking about being able to walk into these businesses and really shake their hands. You're in the community, and you get to really know the people who you're serving and helping out. And so I think that that competitive advantage and finding your own competitive advantage within your market is super important. I mean, is there obviously beyond like the white glove service and stuff? Would you kind of like be willing to kind of dive a little bit deeper maybe into what you guys would consider as some of your key competitive advantages in your market?
Yeah, I think from us, it's trust. We're a small market. Erie County is a relatively small market. Our employees know the businesses know a lot of the employees. Our kids go to the school districts, we go to the local stores that are here. We go to the barber shops. We're here at the bakeries. So building that trust, it takes a long time to build that up in a market, but it can be torn down very quickly too. So we know that, like, if you're not providing that level of service, or you're not doing right by these clients, that word spreads like wildfire. So you got to put a robust product out that is backed, and supported, and that when things happen, if something breaks, you've got a support mechanism. And I think that's where a lot of the fear is at times with business, is that, wow, if we make a mistake here or something doesn't go right there, we're affecting a whole business. It's not just affecting maybe a set of residential customers. Not that they're any less important, but hey, this might become a higher profile thing. So, making sure you have those support mechanisms, leveraging Calix Cloud, leveraging Support Cloud, and all of the things that are built in to the platform with SmartBiz, is that you can go in confidently and know that you're not going to break that trust. And I think that's been what we've built the company here, VNet, over the years, is being that trusted advisor, not only on the BSP, but also on our managed services and our IT services. So I think that's where the competitive advantage is versus all the big providers, the Comcasts and the Spectrums and the Verizons. Really making sure that their business, you spend the time to learn their business, so that you can support their business with the right solution. So that's where we've seen our success. It starts, at the sales process. It starts with the goodwill that you do in the community, and all of us BSPs here, out there, are supporting our local community. You see our company banners in the schools. You see us supporting the local sports teams, and that drives the ability for you to go in and offer these services and feel confident that you can. And I think that from Mike's standpoint and mine, is like, that's something that you can't buy anywhere else. You can't buy that trust, and making sure that we use the platform to our advantage. So, Mike, you have anything to chime in on that?
No, that sounds good.
Sorry, I took some of your thunder there.
Oh no.
But I feel like that's really important, and knowing that you build that trust, and then looking. We mentioned voice over IP a couple of times. We partner with Alianza for our voice platform. Being able to offer a hosted voice solution and be their point of contact to create basic auto attendance and help them with their voicemail and put handsets on their desktop, and enable a business that might have had to have 2 or 3 different things go on to make sure they didn't have calls fall through the cracks and they provide a bad customer experience, or the pizza order doesn't get through. We have a number of customers who have fiber with us that are pizza shops that, hey, I got to have the internet to get my DoorDash and get my online orders, or else I'm dead in the water, because after COVID, a lot of people don't call anymore. They order everything online. They expect to get their pizza in 35 minutes when they go to the website. But if they have to use the phone, we got to provide something that's robust, that works for them, that can do the call queuing and allow a small business to be able to make money, selling whatever that service is. So you build it from having that reputation in the market, to then having a great reputation with your residential base as a reliable, trusted internet provider. And then you put in something like SmartBiz to all these small businesses. Behind me, we've got labels on our Gigaspires that we put out there, and we put stickers on the businesses that we put our SmartBiz in, saying that you're powered by VNet Fiber and SmartBiz. So our customers who are signing up for us, when other people are walking in and going to that business, they see that VNet Fiber is providing the internet. So I feel like that's one of our huge competitive advantages, is knowing that we've built this trust that is allowing us to grow this part of the business.
And allowing us to be able to support this product more easily with less training for our technicians. So more of the technicians can they know what they're getting into, and if there's issues, we know about it. So I think that's something that with some other products you're not going to have as easily, especially when you're compiling a Frankenstein solution. So
yeah, I think that from obviously our perspective, we think that it's hugely advantageous to be leveraging the Calix platform, the Calix hardware, the Gigaspires, GigaPros, and SmartBiz runs across the whole gamut, which I think is great, because it offers, from a technical standpoint and for these businesses, when you're going into them, it's like, well, everyone's a little bit different. You know, it's everything's got to be kind of tweaked a little bit here, a little bit there. But instead of having to maybe develop like a full, you know, from scratch custom solution, you can kind of look at, we need, you know, this GigaSpire gateway over here, but then we need to kind of extend it out over here, whether it's through meshing, whether it's through PoE. Like, I think that there's, you know, a lot of advantages that can come by using this platform, not just from the management side that we've talked about with Service Cloud and whatnot, but also just literally the ability to run, you know, if you've already been offering, say, residential services, but you've at least been installing GigaSpires in these businesses, the ability to just kind of flip a switch, almost literally, to switch it over to SmartBiz and get them on board with these great functionality, I think is, I think it's got to be a huge advantage when you guys are out there selling SmartBiz.
Yeah, we were in the early days when we were putting some you know, Giga centers out at small businesses, so we could manage it from our system here before even SmartBiz came out, knowing that like that was something that a lot of small business needed. They needed, you know, one box solution with robust Wi-Fi, and you know, we were doing a lot of that before the SmartBiz platform came out. So it was really cool to see, like, we were kind of looking at this and going, okay, we could provide this experience. Yes, it's with a residential gateway that it really has, you know, enterprise grade capability in it, and then Calix unlocked that, you know, with SmartBiz in 23. So it's great. We're upgrading and migrating clients that have had deployments of, you know, GigaSpires that we put out there from you know, non-SmartBiz, and even Giga centers that we're replacing with GigaSpires and SmartBiz to that point to give them that solution.
That's awesome. Great. Well, you know, now we've kind of walked through the journey with SmartBiz so far, and I know we've talked a good bit about it now in terms of like the competitive advantages that's offering to these different small businesses, but kind of at a more general level, you know, finding success with SmartBiz and within your community, within these small businesses. I'd love if you guys could kind of talk a little bit about some of the particular businesses that you've installed it in across your community. If there's any that were, I don't know, kind of particularly surprising in terms of like, oh, they either you didn't expect maybe that kind of a business to be needing SmartBiz, or maybe you went in and they were just like, oh, like that, this is exactly what we need. We just didn't realize that.
Yeah, I think we talked about a little bit about the pizza shop. That we have a number of them. It's surprising that like they run their whole business on having internet, having a robust internet connection, you know, using a point of sale software that is cloud-based. So the internet is thoroughly important to them, and having a voice solution, you know, on top of that has been you know, kind of surprising to us. We weren't in that market until we started passing by a lot of these places with our residential growth. Convenience stores, small gas stations have been really important, because if the credit cards aren't running, they can't pay for gas, and they're dead in the water. We have a mall here in Erie that is, you know, surprisingly, it's very full. There's a lot of stores in our mall here in Erie. We have a lot of small independent shops that use SmartBiz and use our fiber optics to provide internet into their business and provide guest Wi-Fi, because our internet signals in the mall aren't really good, so they are able to provide free guest Wi-Fi to those. And we're actually going to be using a little bit of Smart Town with that here with our Smart Town deployments to be able to leverage that as well as a more ubiquitous Wi-Fi in some of those places. I know that, you know, barbershops, anyone that needs an internet connection, we're finding as a potential customer of a SmartBiz, and being able to bundle it in. You know, Mike, I don't think we've ruled out any business customer from SmartBiz. I mean,
no,
anyone knows right now.
Yeah, and I think there's, you know, features like being able to turn off your Wi-Fi after business hours and things like that. It have been things that their particular needs or desires from some of these small businesses, you know, that we've been able to, you know, win them over with. So I think that's been great.
Yeah.
Yep. And companies and small businesses who may have never had IT support before because they've just figured it out. We're seeing that we're going in there, and now just by offering SmartBiz, we're becoming that new trusted advisor, which is opening the door to other things. but it's also nice to know that they can just call one number, and no matter what their problem is with their network, we're going to be here to support it for them. We're going to be here to help them out with their portal for their free Wi-Fi. We're going to be here to make sure that we provide a solution that allows them to go through the PCI compliance checklist and have the tools to be able to check those boxes. There are a lot of small businesses out there that get those compliance checklists and don't know what to do with them, or they run a program on their computer and see that they're not passing their compliance, and now they're stuck because if they don't pass compliance, they can't take credit cards. The SmartBiz solution isn't the end-all be-all, and the GigaCenters isn't, but it's a part of the process. We're giving them the tools to be able to be compliant. We have expertise on our side on the cybersecurity and security side, but just because you don't have a whole team of people who are dedicated to that in your BSP doesn't mean that you can't be part of the solution to them. And I think that's one thing where a lot of BSPs shy away from it, saying, well, I don't want to be liable for that. I don't want to be involved in that and not necessarily take those calls. But who else do you want to take those calls? We're the ones that are trusted in the community. We're the ones that are trusted with providing a robust connection to their businesses. And we're also the ones when we're walking around with our shirts on out at the supermarket that when we provided fiber optic internet to them, if they had a problem, a good experience with their fiber or a bad one, they're the ones finding you out there when you're there anyway. So why not it be you? Why not it be VNet when we're out there doing it? So we've seen success in the past year and a half of working through this and working with Calix on helping to evolve the product. And there's been a lot of time and a lot of development in SmartBiz since it was first launched. So we're really excited about what the future holds just based on the last year and a half of where we started and where we are now.
You can even use the opportunity of being in a business to promote yourself as a BSP, like for instance, the static stickers for the windows of businesses, or some other signage or something that you can agree with the customer, just so that it's giving more more optics to your service. So it can benefit your residential as well as business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that creates like a great little feedback loop within the community. I think it's super important. Yeah, awesome. So thank you guys so much. We have one last poll, and then we're going to open up to if there's any Q&A questions. So our next poll is nice and simple. Just a simple, are you interested in discussing more about small business solutions with our SmartBiz experts? Yes or no? I'm hoping that at least 50%, based on the previous poll, are going to say yes here. 100 would be great. But we'll see what we get here. But and then also, if you guys have any questions you want Brad or Mike to answer, please go ahead and put them in the chat, and we'll make sure they get kind of filtered up.
Yeah, we like answering questions.
Yeah, this has been great. I mean, you guys have just such a wealth of information, and and it really does go to show like how much you guys care about your community, and just like how invested you are in the community, and how important it is. I think that you guys play such an important role. All right. Thank you all for participating in that poll. And then ask, do we have any questions in the chat?
Nothing yet.
Okay.
We have one. I will send it your way.
Perfect. Thank you. I mean, I'm hoping that the silence is that you guys just had such a great, dump of knowledge to everybody here today that they're all blown away. And
are you answering the question, Andy?
Sure, go ahead.
Cool. We got a question from Mr. Trevor Banner here. It's has being able to offer SmartBiz affected your take rate for VoIP? And if so, what is your VoIP take rate now?
Okay, those are two very good questions. Being able to offer SmartBiz absolutely has increased our voice over IP take rate, because we've been able to provide a unified solution to a lot of these small businesses that we would have had to do with multiple products. So it frees up a lot of that expense for us to be able to sell voice over IP. On our small businesses that we deploy, we've done 100 of the smart business to date, year to date. Don't quote me on it, but I know that, and I wish I had the other person from our team in here, but I would say we're at 90+% of our customers that get SmartBiz get voice service from us, because it all kind of lends itself that they may have been coming from Spectrum with some phone lines or their own voice over IP system, or they were coming from Verizon with a similar thing. So we're generally bringing all of that in to the SmartBiz as one solution. So it 100% has increased our take rate, and our take rate on VoIP is, I'd say, very high on all those that we sell into. It's so easy to go in and just bundle it all together and say, here's all the different things you get, and you call us 24/7 and we support it all. And that's what the small businesses are looking for, is simplicity and knowing when there's a problem that they can just go to one place and we sort it out. If we have to roll a truck, we'll roll a truck, and our tech can handle the voice issue, can handle Wi-Fi issues, and can handle their firewall and their security issues on top of their fiber.
That's great.
Great question.
Yeah, very good question. Scott is wondering if there's which kind of particular hardware you guys usually go with in terms of providing that Wi-Fi in the small businesses.
I mean, we were doing a lot of the U62s. I mean, I think that's what we were big on, and then using those as mesh units if we needed to. We're now expanded. We're using the, and I know I'll probably get this wrong, I think we're using the U6Ts on the instead of the U62s now. And then we're now working on all the new Wi-Fi units. We just got a whole bunch of them in the other day, the ones that we can mount on the ceilings, which has given us a whole new experience now, because we found a lot of these small businesses, we need to be able to mount the Wi-Fi on the ceiling. So being able to do that, and then start leveraging the outdoor units, because we're now getting into a lot of areas where we're maybe a little more outside of the city, and some suburban areas where we're dealing with maybe golf courses that need Wi-Fi out on their patios, and being able to do the outdoor units. So the whole selection of all the different Wi-Fi devices that Calix has released here over the past year has now given us we could check every box up against recommending a Cisco or a Ubiquiti or an HP or some of their Aruba, like the smaller solutions. We can do all the same with Calix now. So we keep trying all new ones all the time. Our techs and our engineers on the back end here are constantly we're constantly hounding Calix for the new latest and greatest stuff. So we try to get some of these things in early and start playing around with them. But our bread and butter right out of the gate were the U62s. Like I said, we're starting to look at some of the Wi-Fi 7 items, but the small businesses don't necessarily need that yet. But every device that Calix has out there right now is working well for us that we've put out there.
That's awesome. Really great information. Thank you guys both again. This has been such a great session. I'm hoping that all of our audience really took in a lot of this great information. And we're excited to keep following VNet Fiber's SmartBiz journey. So thank you so much for participating today and for joining us.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.